And we're live. Hello, everybody. It is so great to have you back. Oh boy, for Self Care Sunday. Hello, Amy Smith, Bridge, Alsha Brown. So good to see so many familiar names and faces and people. It sounds like Amy Smith won't be able to stick around, but yeah, it's great to have you here, even if it's just to say hi. So yeah, a lot going on this weekend. Hello. Um, I had some holiday affairs, which were lovely. I got to see some family, which I think we can take some time to chat about today. Oh my God, colored glass, Lorado, Tree Kid, hello and welcome. Self Care Sunday. We're waiting for Tiffy to join. Tiffy's been sort of spazzing out around the apartment, which is her right to do as an American feline citizen. And hopefully she'll join us in a little bit. But yeah, I thought today we could take some calls from folks. Milo Beekman, this is awesome. It's so great to have you here for the first time live. Oh man, if y'all have any questions or anything, you please feel free to throw those in the chat. It moves quick, so definitely copy paste anything that doesn't get answered a couple times until I see it. Alexi W, so great to see you here, even briefly. Emir, hey Emir, so good to have you here. Oh man, this is fantastic. I think that y'all probably know by now that Self Care Sunday is probably my favorite day of the week because of y'all. So yeah, I was thinking that today we could take a couple calls. Oh boy, let me just take a peek at what's going on over here. What? That's fine. No email sent. No stress. So I was thinking we'd have Ronnie Gosh join us from last week, who got some coaching from Chris Wilson, who was on. Um, and it sounds like, it sounds like Ronnie's been up to some awesome stuff. And I thought that would be a nice way to sort of follow up about that. So that's happening. Getting that phone call together. I'm trying Skype now. And then I was thinking that we've done this once before, but I previously have played this game called Dream Daddy, which is an amazing indie game. I think it's an indie game. No. You have to go on Skype. I just set up a new thing, and that thing is called Self Care Sunday at uplift.is. So you can call in now for all you international folks that don't have access to calling on a normal American number. Yeah. Yes, Bridge, I've fallen for Gabrielle's blasphemy about the Google Hangouts. It's easier for one-on-one calls from an international audience. So that's why I'm trying that. Okay. We'll use Google Hangout for Ronnie, but if anybody wants to call in, I got Skype open as well. Okie dokie. So yeah, how are y'all doing? How's your holidays? I'd love to hear from y'all in the chat. In the meantime, I don't know if you can see behind me. There's this sort of overhead shooting rig that I've recently got to set up. What's fun about that is you can cut to stuff like this. If you're not subscribed to my channel, definitely hit that button. And there's also a way to sign up for notifications so that you'll be one of the first people to know whenever I go live. So that's fun. Um, and I intend to be doing all sorts of cool uh, stuff over there, like building out technical things and just sort of nerding out with you guys. Um, Amir, it's so wonderful to have you here. Um, Tree Kid, sounds like you had an all right time. Vague family drama to deal with, but what you can do? What can you do? Well, that's a good question. What can you do? What did you do? I'd love to know. And I think that that's what we'll be talking about in the first ever edition of Daddy Issues, which is only for the cuteness of how close it is to Dream Dad's Dream Daddy. I'm going to be playing the video game Dream Daddy in a little bit, and taking phone calls to talk about family stuff, because I think that there's stuff with family stuff that's fun to talk about. That's a little bit about what I have planned. Anything anybody else thinks we should do? Probably going to stream until like 7 or so and then get some dinner. So not necessarily a tremendously long stream. Tiffy, come say hi to people. Yeah. Come here. Come here, Tiffy. And they say she never listens. Everybody, welcome Tiffany. No. Actually, don't go on the table though, Tiff. Okay, good. She's so cute. So this is Tiffany. I'm gonna be the Bee and the Rose knitting podcast. My grandma kept misgendering me the whole fucking night. It's been 3 years. I don't know how to handle this anymore. I'm so sorry that you're dealing with that. And if you want to chat about this on the stream, I'd be more than happy to do that. Just go on Skype and try to add Self-Care Sunday at uplift.is. That's IS. Love Kirby forever. Hello. Welcome. And we're live with Ronnie. One sec, Ronnie. I just want to make sure you're going to get heard properly.
Sorry.
No worries. Hang tight for 1 second.
You're chill.
Okay, great. Now I can hear you, Ronnie. And can you hear me and see me?
I can. Oh my gosh.
Amazing. Welcome. So great to have you back.
It's great to be back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I am terrible, I guess.
Hey, no, it literally would not be Self-Care Sunday without at least a dozen technical difficulties.
I don't always aim to please, but when I do, I never miss the mark.
Oh boy. Sorry, I was just not looking at Tiffy while I was petting and she got up.
That's so mean. How could you?
Yeah, I know. 6 dozen things on my screen to look at. But I just noticed colored glass. My dad got really mad and ended up flipping me off and making me and my sister cry. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's. I'm sorry to hear that. And we'll be taking more calls about family stuff later for anybody who wants to do that. Let's give that a try. Oh, bless you, Tiffy. Give that a try at Self-Care Sunday at uplift.is on Skype. So, Ronnie, how are you? What's going on? If maybe you'd take a moment to share who you are, where you are, what you're up to, and sort of summarize what we talked about last week, and then share what's new.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so my name's Ronnie. I live in Omaha, Nebraska, where it's currently like super, super dark. I hate daylight saving so much. My main issue that I was having last week was the fact that I was having trouble with my life and trying to fulfill myself and be like my ultimate me, I guess. Like just
Hmm.
trying to find the path of, trying to do a whole bunch of stuff while still dealing with the fact that I had, so many outside forces that were kind of like closing in on me, like the jaws of some huge gaping monster.
And like what kind of
And
outside forces?
oh, just like, my family wants a piece of my time and my day job wants a piece of my time. And I have, so many projects that I'm trying to work on and school related things. I'm no longer in school, but I'm trying to apply to different schools so I can go get my PhD and just be one of those weirdos for the next 5 years.
Nice.
Um, oh, yeah. And so Chris gave me some ideas on like, hey, maybe you can try to combine instead of trying to compartmentalize and focus like, okay, this part's you time and this part's school time and this part's work time, like try to make it work together. And at the end of the day, all your time is your time. It's not like, okay, this goes to school and this goes to work, this goes to your family. It's like, it's all you. It's just the time that you're spending doing each thing.
Right.
And then when it came to trying to move forward and do what I wanted to do with my life, which is like go out and edit books and be cool like that, he's like, hey, maybe we can try to work on a smaller scale, maybe like email some people to see if anybody needs an editor. And so it's like, yeah, I can do that. And so that's what I did. I actually got a hold of the email list to my local writing guild and I started sending out emails for to see if anybody needs any editing things. And I let my local National Novel Writing Month group know that. And so hopefully someone will come back to me.
That's
And as
amazing.
of today, currently at this wonderful hour, I have 2 of my 4 PhD applications done and turned in. So
Oh my
I get
God.
to, yeah, we'll see how it goes in February, see if anybody accepts me.
That's awesome. Well, you'll have to come back and let us know.
Oh, trust me, you guys will know either I'm going to run around throwing confetti or I'm going to run around crying tears on everybody.
Either way, we'll be here.
But yeah, so I have just been taking it a day at a time, moving forward, trying to incorporate multiple things and just trying to strive and not worry about, oh, I have to get all this done. It's like, okay, I'm going to pick 3 things each day, and these are the top 3 things that need to get done, and that's what I'm going to work on. And so
Right.
that's how it's been going.
That's really, really inspiring. I guess what's something that you would want to sort of make available to anybody that would have loved to sort of pick up the phone and sort of is in a similar situation, or maybe uh, would prefer to not pick up the phone, but sort of like live vicariously through your experience? I guess, is there any insights or sort of takeaways that you'd want to share?
Well, I suppose it's always going to be a process and it's always going to be, a journey. And there are still moments where it's like, okay, I feel like I'm still not doing enough and that I should still be doing more. And it's like, hey, it's okay. I mean, we're setting small goals first to do these few things. And it's okay, not to exactly reach, all the way to the top on one of them as long as you're trying and you're still moving, I guess. It's you can't fail if you're still trying,
Hmm.
it's just how I'm trying to look at it because you can look at, oh, hey, I only wrote this much and I still haven't hung out with my family yet and I'm late for work, but it's like, hey, I'm obviously in the middle of doing something else here and work will understand because I'm on my way and there's still plenty of time in the day to do the other things and hang out with my family and all that jazz.
Cool. Yeah, I find it is a frustrating reality of this life that there will always be more undone than done.
Yeah.
Because when there's so much to do, yeah,
Yeah.
it can feel like there's never any time. But that's not true because
Yeah.
there's all the
I
time.
have, oh, yeah. But hey, if it helps, I have a pin board. I got like a cheap cork board and I just like started putting notes on it. It's like, okay, here's something to do and here's something to do and here's a reminder that it's okay I don't get these done and
Huh, that's
oh
amazing.
yeah.
What's the one that reminds you that it's okay to not get things done?
Um I'm pretty sure it says, God, hold on, let me read it. It says, your cats still love you.
That's amazing. And I am sure that it's true, isn't that right, Tiffy? Tiffy's like,
Yes.
yes, pet my belly.
Your kitties will love you even if, you didn't turn in an application today. So,
Aw.
please. Yeah. Well, I have two cats, and one is really fat and really mean, and the other one's like still in her little kitten stage. So she still has like the kitten fluff, even though she's like a year old, and she's
Aw.
like always super nice, and I
That's
love her.
awesome. Um, that's adorable. Yeah, I guess. What else do I
Cat stream.
want to explore while we're on the phone together? I guess. Is there anything that you want to share with the community other than what you've shared, or is there anything that you want to ask of the community that you would love an opportunity to do? Yeah.
Just, your perfect you is always going to be a goal, I suppose. And it's not the perfect you should be reaching for, but just like the best you.
Hmm.
And just to keep living your life and doing good. And sometimes it's going to be harder to be kind and be good than it would be to lash out. But it's still the choice to be made, because the only way to keep making yourself feel better and keep making the world better is to just keep making the conscious choice to be better.
Hmm.
And I only say that because, I've the past couple days, despite some of my goals being reached, I've been just having issues with, my job and with my family. And I've had, choices to make where it's like, okay, do I lash out in anger, or do I just kind of like step back and then come back and just react with kindness? And so I've always had to remind myself, hey, it would be easier to lash out, but it would be better to take a step back and then come back and be kind.
Hmm.
And so that's just something I would want to put out there.
Hmm. I love that. Awesome. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much
So
for coming back on the show. And I think the thing that I would love for everybody to sort of the thing that I so appreciate about the I guess the 6 days between or 7 days between when we last spoke and now is it sounds like you really stepped out of your comfort zone and took some new actions, like actions you maybe hadn't taken before, like look up this guild in your area and email them about whether or not you can be useful and make a difference for them.
yeah,
That's so
it's a
cool. And I think that it's something that can so easily be uh, written off as uh, like it's not even worth trying because it'll never work, or like that's like feels like sales and I don't like that for some reason. It's like at the end of the day, you get to put yourself out there for something that really matters to you, and odds are good that like somebody could really use that and it's like actually contributing to someone. um, I think that's really cool.
yeah, I'm cool.
Awesome. So I guess we'll be in touch. You'll have to let us know how the applications go, and I would love to know. Definitely, like, hit me up if you end up doing work for the guild. We'd love to hear how that story
Oh yeah.
continues.
Oh, you guys don't want to hear the editing stories because those usually get ugly, but I will totally let you guys know.
Nice, awesome.
Oh, trust me, I have stories, but it's okay.
Do you want to share one of them before we say goodbye?
Okay. So, um, this was for my first semester in grad school, and this was one of the first stories I had to read and edit and come back together to do for a group critique. And this gentleman was about to graduate, and the story he gave us was 20 pages long, and the first page and a half was one paragraph, no commas or punctuation whatsoever. And I'm reading this and my eyes are glazing over and I can just like feel the blood draining from my face. And I'm like, this is what you're graduating with. And I'm just like rethinking all the choices I've made. Like, is this the right program? Am I going to be okay here? And I, confront him about this. And he's just like, yes, I'm taking inspiration from the long form writers. And they all never used commas ever. And it's like, okay, I'm going to put this down. I'm going to be back. I don't know when I'll be back. It'll probably be like another year or two after you finally, do something with this. But I promise I will come back at some point. But it was a nightmare. And he also had like some other really kind of cringy issues with his writing too that I don't really feel comfortable mentioning here, just because I don't want to mention it, because
That makes sense.
it wasn't good. But yeah, it was. Yeah,
I appreciate that.
I got you. It's cool. But yeah, so remember, kids, commas are your friends. Even if you think you're using too many, please, it's easier to take them out than it is to put them in.
Yep. Oh man, I remember getting my first copy of Scrunk and White. Is it or Strunk? I always forget the name. The like grammar book.
Oh yeah, the Elements of Style.
Yeah.
Yep.
My mother gave me a copy of like the Mountain Man's Guide to Grammar. That was a little bit more my speed. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I
No
think
worries. It's
that
what I'm
could
here
be a
for.
whole segment of Self Care Sundays. The editing Twilight Zone.
Yes. Well, I'll just come forth with the weird writerly problems like commas.
Right.
But thanks so much again for having me back. Sorry I don't have Skype.
Such a pleasure. So not a problem. I love me some Google Hangouts all day long. Yeah,
Hey.
it's all chill.
All right. You take care then, and I'll talk to you later.
Cool. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Awesome. People are the best. Thank you so much for coming on, Ronnie. This was awesome. Yeah, I think now would be as good a time as ever to pop over into whatchamacallit, Dream Daddy mode. Nobody's ready. I was going to ask if you're ready, but nobody's ready. What? All right. And while we're at it, let me get some iTunes. Some royalty-free tunes. Whoa. Yeah, that's not where that goes. Sorry, guys. Yeah, this is the way my screen share is working. It's a little bit of a mess. All right. So we're going to get into some D-dads. I have the music off because it's repetitive. Yeah, let me just find some royalty-free music. I know I have, there you go. All right, now we've got some Dream Dads, some iTunes. It's all in the stream. Whoa, new game. Oh my god, this is adorable. You probably are gonna miss some text. It says zzz, 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 zzz. Amanda, Dad. Zzz. Dad, wake up. This is Amanda. Ooh, I can wake up, I can pretend to be dead, or I can sleep for 5 more minutes. It's 5 more minutes. Amanda. You're so good at waking me up. I'm lying in the middle. Oh, I'm spooning a moving box. Good morning, Amanda Panda. Of course, I'd have dad breath. Dad tip number 74. Anyone whoops. Oh my god, it's time to build that dad, you guys. Let's build this dad together. 1 second, I think I can sneak this over so you can kind of see it a little better. cool. I'm gonna change this dad up, but once I finish this up, I'm gonna call in somebody. We got we got Bridge Geen. I think I pronounced your last name right, but you'll correct me. Would like to call in. She's a longtime listener, longtime caller. Looking forward to have you back on the show. I did not finish the last daddy. We're starting over. What is the difference between athletic binder bod, athletic tank bod? Interesting. I think that this is more accurate. I don't know if we're going for accuracy. Yeah. We're gonna build this dad. Somebody shouted out the lighting. Thanks for that. The Skype is Self-Care Sunday at uplift.is. Self-Care Sunday at uplift.is. Tree Kid, I believe in you. Believe in you. Alright. Eyes. Oh, hard eyes, motherfuckers. All the live long day. I got pink hard eyes all day long. We did that last time. Let's do the down one this time. Yeah. The biggest one, please and thank you. There you go. Yeah. I don't know, guys. What eye should I do? This music is Blue Dot Sessions. The album is Aeronaut. Then there's one after it called Body Tonic. Could I lower the music? I could absolutely lower the music. Yeah, sorry about that. Cool. Is that better, colored glass? I know there's a delay, so it'll take a bit. Yeah. Browse be brown. I feel like that's more accurate. Cool. Alright. This is a hilarious game. I think this is looking good, Daddy. Zach Valenti. Can you guys come up with a better name? I think yeah, let's see if you guys have a better name. Let's see what that might be. Not sure that Zach Valenti is the supreme and be all end all situation. Name that dad. I'm gonna give another 30 seconds for naming. Make OT Zaddy. Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times. Okay, we got Zaddy Valendaddy. Fabio Valendaddy. Zach Valenti. Zach Valenti will have to happen next time. Right now we are Fabio. Fabio's Valdaddy, I think. Wait, Straggler, what's in it? We're looking in the box, see a bunch of old photos, photo albums. Amanda, whoa, I haven't seen these in the years. I pull out one of these dusty albums and from the top, and we start looking through it. Aw, Amanda's like, that's the coolest baby I've ever seen, because it's totally her. I think there was a father involved. Spent the first 2 years of your life with sunglasses on. Nice, said Amanda. Fabio. Halloween, maybe you were 4. That dragon costume. You couldn't decide being a princess or dragon, so you went with Princess Dragon. Why do I remember crying in that dragon costume? Amanda says. Fabio says, you saw yourself in the mirror and you realized you were afraid of dragons. Seeing yourself inside the dragon's mouth was a realization of your greatest fear. Amanda, right, yep, that's definitely her best memory. And then Fabio says, and this was your horse phase. So yeah, this is happening. Cool, Bridge. I'm gonna call you on Skype right now. While we do this. Oh, wow! It automatically knew to pause the music. That's crazy. Hey, what's up, Bridge?
Okay.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Very, very slightly. It's very quiet. It's too quiet.
That's why. Is anything happening?
Very quiet. It's too quiet. I can't hear you.
What's going on with guys?
I do hear you, but very, very slightly, and maybe not anymore. Haha. Not sure why it's not working. Well, while we figure that out, Fabio says, nice try, but this is important for blackmail down the road. Amanda's all like, go ahead and try me. I've seen pictures of you in your ska band. Oh, God. Ouch, kid. The Scommunist Manifesto had a chance back in the day. Oh, what a dad name. Any luck, Bridge? Now I don't hear you at all. 0% do I hear you. Perhaps it is a mic that is not plugged in that you typically are using. I don't know. The Stranger Things soundtrack is really good. Amir G, you're right. You can't hear me. That's a problem. Yeah.
I
All right. Like I said, none more Google Hangout. Wow, look at that. Skype being integrated with the OS and music stopping at the right times. All right. Bridge, I'm in the Google Hangout, and I'll see you when you get here. Hey, what's up, Bridge? You're on mute? That is an icon that I see. There you go, but you're still very quiet.
I don't know why. Oh wait, I had to adjust the settings. Is it working
That's
better
way
now?
better. That's way better.
I have to turn down the gain when I record.
Right. Well, welcome to Self Care Sunday. You're
Hi.
live.
Yay!
Rachel Porter Chastain says, "Well, Bridge, let me tell you, it sounds great. He sounds great. Maybe this is related to Blood Crow Stories, and not
Oh, yeah, I am in the Blood Crow Stories Discord.
nice. Right on. I guess was there something that you were interested in chatting about other than D-dads?
I mean, I have some family stuff going on, and I don't know. I've talked to my sister, and I haven't actually talked to my parents because they're the ones the issue was with.
What happened?
It all started October 21st.
Uh-huh.
That's when my dad opened my bank statement.
Right.
I told you, and
You mentioned that.
yeah, and he's basically been on my ass about not having a job, which I've been trying. I have been trying really hard,
Right.
but he just doesn't seem to care that it's just not going well at all. Like, he did this once. He knows how hard it is to get a job.
Right. And just
So,
right, and just to what's it called? Just to make sure I'm on the same page. He opened your bank statement, saw something in particular, and
yeah. Specifically the fact that he did not take kindly to my Patreon donations, which none of his business.
right.
Actually, he didn't take kindly to me spending money, like, at all.
Right.
Which is definitely none of his business.
Right. I think that is a tricky situation from the perspective of you're totally right, and like I can only I not being a father, I can only imagine how much fear like do you think he might be afraid and just like is that maybe his way of saying I care about you even though it may not sound that clear?
I mean, I get that, but also
Not saying that makes it okay.
Yeah, no. Because what's that sound?
It's probably Tiffy snoring.
Oh. I've never heard Tiffy snore before, and I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Cute Tiffy snores. No. But it's more that he hasn't ever respected anything I do. And this goes back almost since I was born, actually, because he didn't want a girl. He wanted a boy.
Mm. How do you know that?
Because my mom told me. I was in 6th grade and I had just done like my 5th sport that he forced me into.
Mm.
And I asked my mom why Dad kept pushing me into sports when he knew I didn't like sports. She's like, well, when you hadn't been born yet, he really wanted a son who could play sports.
Hmm.
So he tried to make me into that son who could play sports. Only I'm a girl and I'm not good at sports.
Hmm.
And I've never been up to his standards because he wanted me to be an engineer. Instead, I'm going to school for teaching.
Hmm. Well, I think that's. What was it like for you to make that? It sounds like you made a call, and sort of stood up for what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I did. But also that's because my mom was there for me. She was the one who convinced my dad that this was okay.
Hmm. Sounds like a cool lady.
Uh, my mom has some issues as well.
Hmm.
But my dad has held me to this standard that I've never been able to reach my entire life, and it's getting really tiring at this point. And I know he's just pushing me to do better, but he doesn't understand that metaphorically I am on the edge of a cliff right now.
Hmm. In
And
what
one more
sense?
push is just gonna, yeah,
In what sense would you say that?
on the edge of a cliff. Or,
Yeah.
well, I when I was in church today with my family, I may or may not have uh, planned a speech in my head. I can't. Not a good speech. I'll just say that.
Got it. I guess what I'm asking is if you consider yourself sort of at risk for self harm or anything like that, versus like telling them what you think.
I have been afraid of my parents since middle school.
Hmm.
Like, I don't go to them with problems because I don't think like they do. My parents are not chill with some of the life decisions I have made that they don't know about.
Hmm.
My parents are not chill that one of my best friends and one of my only friends here in college, a trans boy who I actually really like.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hmm. Well, you know, the awesome thing about your life is that it gets to be yours.
yeah.
um,
The problem is that my dad especially seems to think that he has some control over my life because he's currently helping me pay for college.
right.
Like, if I had a way to pay for my own college, I would just do it right now and be free of them because as much as I do love my family because they're my family.
I was going to say, it sounds like you really care about them, and it's frustrating that it sounds like your experience is that they really don't accept you for you.
Yeah.
Ow, Tiffy.
And I know,
Sorry.
like, I know that if I told them half of the things that I actually think about, they wouldn't, like, throw me out on the street, but they'd definitely be a lot less on my side.
Well, I don't know that you need to tell them anything that you don't feel comfortable telling them. So that's not necessarily like in any way, shape, or form bad or wrong. Um, Looks like a bunch of people in the chat have some kind things to say.
I accept you all as my family. You've been my family for how long has it been since I started coming to Self Care Sunday? You're all my friends and family. If you're okay with that, if you're not, then we'll just be friends.
Yeah, I guess I don't have any specific things. Yeah, like my idea for daddy issues was more or less an open-ended conversation.
You know, it's just nice to talk about it and
Right?
not just have it.
Just sort of fester and be like this unspeakable thing.
Yeah. Because a lot of this is stuff that, like, has been bothering me for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's fine. You didn't interrupt. What were you going to say?
I guess I just like I feel really lucky to have the parents that I have, that they've been sort of unreasonably supportive. And not to say we haven't had our disagreements or not seen things eye to eye, or I've felt various pressures throughout my life. But I think I've had it easy relative to most people that I know. And I think one of the things that I've been able to see, especially as the like younger cousins of mine grow up and their parents who were hanging out with me in their 20s when I was a little one, and now I get to hang out with them and see sort of their like how their families operate. I just have a lot of compassion for what it must be like for a parent to just like have no idea. Like I think adults more often than not feel like children trapped in increasingly aged bodies and maybe like don't have like, in a way that every human being I feel like has a sort of limited access to like reality. I think that that's like increasingly true of folks like the further back you kind of go, especially around accepting different identities. I just find that we're still waking up about that, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I've like, okay, hang on. I've forgotten how to. I've had an increasing issue with being able to talk lately. I mean, I get it, and I wish I had more supportive parents too. I'm actually really jealous of people who have supporting parents because mine have almost never been supportive of what I want.
Right.
And I see, I mean, in the what?
You can always share my parents.
Rachel, your parents would disown me too if I told them half the things.
They said the only way they'd disown me is if I committed murder and then went and had a giant pansexual and then shunned the church and came out as Aaron's cat kid or some shit like that.
Wow.
My ass. It was important.
That's kind of amazing.
I guess my roommate Rachel's parents are my parents now.
You're my brother, Greg!
That's right, I am your brother Greg. For backstory, my roommate Rachel, who is in the room with me right now,
Uh-huh.
and we've known each other for 3 years.
Yeah.
We've been living together for 2 years. I have gone back with her to her house more times than I can count, and I have never seen her brother Greg. He's always conveniently been away whenever I've been to their house.
Right, so he totally exists.
He apparently he exists.
We absolutely
Her
believe
dad
that Greg did.
claims that he exists, but we figured it out last time I came to visit. We've never seen me and Greg in the same room together. Therefore, we must be the same person.
Hashtag Greg lives. Hashtag Greg is
Hashtag
Greg
Oh,
is
that's
Greg is Bridge. Bridge is Greg.
My name is Bridge Greg now? Greg?
Greg.
Don't quote me on that. I like Bridge better. I mean, Greg is a good name. I just like Bridge better.
Awesome. Eula Chavez just joined. I have you on the video now, Bridge.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah. We never know how long the delay is. But yeah. I think it's cool to just be able to sort of think these things out loud. It sounds like Greg is my dad, according to Rachel Porter Chastain. Yeah, I guess like if anybody in the chat has any thoughts, this is daddy issues. And yeah, I mean, I think the thing that comes to mind, and then maybe I'll just I know there's one part of the game that just came up where it's supposed to be read in cheesy announcer voice, which seems important. But yeah, I guess like the thing that comes to mind to say is just how much that it sucks that you're not feeling supported in the ways that you'd like. And I think the degree to which you let that mean anything is, or like let that impact you, is not to say it's in any way, shape, or form your fault, but I do believe that there is a choice.
Yeah.
And that's the intention is definitely not. It's to leave you with power. And yeah, I guess there's like a couple resources that I can think of that might be a useful way to have new conversations with parents that aren't necessarily supportive. I know the like nonviolent communication sort of resource is like a great way to be heard by people that maybe haven't listened in a long time because their ears are like that Minesweeper game, where if you say something too close to something that they don't want to hear, they just will blow up.
Explode.
Yeah, right. And so like
That's my parents.
right. So I wonder if something like nonviolent communication might be an interesting framework to have new conversations with the same parents running the same operating system.
Yeah. That's something to try. I definitely need to just talk to them at some point because it's like, again, I've just been scared of my parents since middle school because I never know what I'm going to say that might set them off.
Have you told them that, like said that exact sentence?
No, because I'm afraid it would set them off.
Right. I do, what I like about that sentence is, and if it needs to be said, I'm definitely not a mental health care professional or like an expert of any kind, other than in like somebody who knows how to turn on a live stream. But I guess what I liked about that sentence of I've been afraid of you guys since middle school, because I have no idea what I might say might set you off, is like it owns your like it owns it as your perception. Like it's not necessarily like you guys are monsters. It's like I've been afraid and like had a fear. Like it sort of isn't debatable to that extent, right? Like they may feel hurt that that's how you felt for so long and not said anything. But I do think it's like well communicated. And that's obviously no guarantee that it'll go well if you say that exact thing. But I do think that that owns your personal experience as your experience and sort of gives them an opportunity to see the world how you've experienced it.
Yeah. Because this is the same thing that happened with my oldest sister too. Was only my oldest sister eventually just like she left without saying anything and just like completely cut contact with all of us until I was in college. And then she started getting back in regular contact with me. And now my oldest sister is the only one that I regularly talk to in our whole family. And she's been my biggest support.
That's awesome.
Like she has offered to let me live with her in New Mexico over the summer so I don't have to deal with my parents.
Wow. That sounds like a freaking awesome sister.
Yeah, my sister Katie is the best.
That's so cool. Yeah, definitely keep her around. That's really cool. That's something that I really appreciate about family. My aunt is in from Italy, and in so many ways, I think we're very similar, which can make us like really, really nuts, and can also be really, really nice to spend a lot of time together. And it's interesting what is available in my relationship with her that's not necessarily with my parents, and vice versa. So yeah, awesome. I guess do you have anything that you wanna, I guess, share about what you see now, or any questions you want to ask of anybody, or anything you're thinking about experimenting with or exploring sort of out of this conversation?
I'm definitely going to try and initiate that conversation with my parents on a less serious sort of experimenting. I do have a script that I'm going to experiment with.
What script?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I told you about it.
Yeah.
Queen Cadence.
And
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And just for people who may not have been there, is this part of Rye Scrivember? Is this something you've been working on for a while?
Rye Scrivember, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people definitely weren't there. It was you and Gabrielle.
Right.
But no, I wrote a whole script for Rye Scrivember, and it's not long. It's 12 pages, I think. But yeah.
That's amazing. That's as long as we were allowed to write scripts in the film major at Wesleyan. Yeah.
And other exciting experiments are the creating in the 21st century. I don't know what we're actually calling it. The name isn't set in stone. That my creative writing professor asked me to help him do.
Oh, is this the podcast that you're creating with your?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I bet he hasn't gotten back to you yet. I don't even know if he checked his email at all.
That's fine. Yeah. Whatever.
Pinkney's Pinkney. I actually laughed when I read your email because I've been so lax with him for a while that I just speaks very highly of him. No, he knows that I talk shit about him all the time.
Well, it sounds like you like each other.
Yeah, we're close.
In other news,
He gets my I get his humor, so
Nice.
it's all good.
In other news, I think I'm going to start making sweaters out of Tiffy's fur.
All right, A plus.
I have this like
Sell those sweaters.
huge hairball from her.
Oh my god, I can see it on the camera.
Yep. That is one of millions.
My dog Oliver sheds like that. He's
Nice.
a dog.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, so great to have you on the show again, Bridge. Always a pleasure.
It's always great to talk with you and be here with the Self Care Sunday fam.
Yeah, it's a good fam. I think Tree Kid wanted to try to jump on the Skype. So I think we'll say goodbye and I'll try that out, and then we'll wrap up. Awesome. Peace out. All right, Tree Kid, if you would like to chat, we can totally do that. In the meantime, I'm going to read this line as if it were dramatically on the radio. Nestled in beautiful... Take two. Nestled in beautiful, scenic downtown Maple Bay, our new house features... Honey, have you ever had dirty clothes? Amanda, for the most of my life, yes. Fabio. Well, worry about that no longer, as our new place features machinations that will not only clean your clothes, but dry them directly thereafter. Tree Kid, no pressure, and also, it'll be chill. I'm just on Skype. If you search for Self-Care Sunday, apparently you will find me. Good luck. Amanda fears upper-class luxury. The concept of clean clothes is no longer in the hands of the fat cats upstairs, sweetie. Anyway, it's also smaller than our last house. Amanda, cozier, one might argue. Fabio, good spin. Amanda, I think it's great. Won't we be closer to a lot of cool stuff we can walk to, so I don't have to waste gas? And I mean, try parking downtown. Trying to park downtown is, well, you know. Anyway. Zach, yes, you should be able to call me Tree Kid. But also, if you add me as a contact, then I can call you. I'm not exactly sure how the Skype works. I've avoided it for very long. For very long. Aw. Tiffany. Don't eat your own hair. Little snuggle kitty. We have not gotten to any of these dads. I'm just going to skip ahead. Oh my god. Wow, this is amazing. I didn't realize you could do this. I need coffee. This is so fun. You can just skip ahead. Oh, Emmanuel Fotamo's here. What up, Emmanuel? Great to have you here. Amazing. All right, let's try this. Hey, what's up, Tree Kid?
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. 1, I apologize if my voice gets pitchy. That happens when I'm nervous. 2, I'm sorry I'm a fast talker and my words run. I actually go to speech therapy for, like, that exact reason. So,
You're doing fine right now.
great. Good times.
Awesome. Well, I guess, how are you, and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Sanford, North Carolina, i.e. middle of nowhere. Like, there's nothing.
Well, welcome. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to talk to you. You were very high on my list of prominent people.
Aw.
So hey,
Well, thank you. That makes me feel really awesome. And it's great to be on the phone with you. Was there anything in particular you had in mind that you wanted to talk about?
there have been many things I've felt that like, hey, Zach is a cool guy and he is smart and he could probably help you with these things. But since the colloquial topic is daddy issues, I'm gonna trail down more the line of um like sort of like family oriented things, you know. Uh, Fairly recently, um, I have moved in here in Sanford with my step family.
Uh huh.
Beforehand, the setup was my mom and I, every now and again, we would take like a 2 hour ride to go see my stepdad, my stepbrothers, and they would do vice versa every now and again. And it wasn't necessarily conventional because every time I would tell people, they would give me like this weird look, like what are you doing? But like it worked, and we have all moved into this house, and I can see the benefit in it. We're all closer. We are a family unit in a sense, but it was very sudden, and I was like suddenly uprooted from my friends and my school and like the town I have lived in literally all of my life. So where I was before, that was like all I had ever really known,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a really sudden thing, and I haven't had a really like a proper way to feel and deal with it, and it's been almost a month, and things in like every corner haven't really been going well.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, like,
in
is there anything in particular, like breakfast or like, you know what I mean?
yeah, um, I guess like I'll to start on this spiraling death train.
Oh boy, that's a
Yeah, well,
train.
look, well that's a bit like exaggerated, but like you get my point.
Yeah.
Um, they took me out of school, so now I go to school with my step siblings and the school where my stepdad also happens to teach. It's been almost a month, and I've yet to make any friends, which is hard, especially because I've made attempts to put myself out there and be like, hey, I'm not really sociable and I'm very drained doing this, but it kind of hurts me to be alone. And it hasn't really fallen through.
Hmm.
Beforehand, two of my classes were online, and they put me in like physical classes now, and I'm ahead of everyone, and my teachers just haven't accommodated at all. So they're just like, you're gonna do all this work you've kind of done before. Just like strap in for the ride. And then, um, so I have an IEP in math. I have a um gosh, what's the word? There we go. I have dyscalculia. It's like dyslexia, but with numbers and math, and it's not fun. But beforehand, I was in a Foundations of Math 3 class, and the school I'm at now, they don't offer that. So I was just shoved into a regular Math 3 class, and I have no clue what's happening. And the teacher's just like, I can't really help you. I'm not trying to be mean, but I just can't help you like all the time. You just have to figure it out on your own.
That
And
sucks.
it's a lot.
Hmm.
And
Wow. So it sounds like there's like a lot of different moving parts to this,
yeah,
and this is all sort of like connected to moving recently.
yeah. And
Okay.
I'm telling people around me, well, less telling, more just kind of bottling things, because I'm telling people around me, gosh, I'm sorry, my words are really jumbled. I'm
No worries.
nervous and I'm talking quickly, which I shouldn't do, but I've been like feeling, everything having to deal with this, and it's just been this mixture of people telling me like, oh, don't worry about it, we'll deal with it later, or like, well, all you can do is just one day at a time. But that's not really a healthy approach to kind of just uprooting your life for something else entirely that isn't necessarily working out. You understand?
I think so. It sounds like pretty much everything in your life changed overnight, and it sounds like it's been awfully lonely,
Yeah.
and that is hard. I think it would be for anybody.
Yeah.
Is that
And-
is that accurate?
oh yes, very.
Okay.
You were like on the nose. Like when I say it was quick, it was quick. They just out of nowhere told me, "Hey, we're moving, and we told you first because we know you don't handle change well." And I'll give them that because I'm not a huge change person once I get into my like day to day, and I'm
Oh,
comfortable.
wait, you're not one of
I'm
those
happy.
humans I've heard so much about. You know what I mean, though? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's personal to you. I think anybody that eats change for breakfast is somebody who has something to prove about that. I don't think it's like a default. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's not a default to just be into doing something different everywhere, like every day,
Right.
or like not having your set.
Like, I think
In-
that's a learned behavior rather than like a.
like a
Yeah,
program.
exactly.
Yeah.
And even the sort of like daringest daredevils that I've met have their like limits or have other areas of their life where like they might be willing to jump out of an airplane or move to another country every 6 months, but God
Like,
help me if they actually like
or
share
something
something
like that.
personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you have your limits. It's like I'll do this, but I won't do that.
Right. Also, I have to mirror some of the folks in the somebody in the chat. Morgan Prude just or Proud. I'm not sure. Please do correct me if I mispronounce anything. That's like generally. Yeah, I definitely have to echo people in the chat that are like, we totally understand you, both content wise, and speech wise. Like you're speaking very clearly. So
Great.
yeah.
Speech therapy not in vain. All right.
Check. That's great. It's awful that you are feeling so lonely and having such a hard time in the sort of social environment at school. I guess what would be of most benefit to talk about and sort of like, and I think there are some cool things coming in over the chat that may relate to some of the things that some aspects of what you've been sharing. But I guess, with the time that we have, is there anything in particular you'd want to focus on together?
Oh, geez. That's a broad question, my man.
While
That's
I
broad.
also flirt with Matt at this coffee shop.
I forgot you're playing Dream Day.
Yeah, it's just going on in the background.
What-
I
what-
mostly
what-
lose track of it and then remember that
what-
it's
what a
going.
good- Ah, jeez. I guess just on the aspect of dealing with being alone, because I'm not a super social person. Because once I get into not having anyone to talk to, then I'm okay with it. Or there are times I just want to be alone. But it is still nice to have someone to be with or to be around.
Mm.
Especially because even in my household, I don't really have anyone I can talk to or relate to on any issues or anything about myself. Like there are things about myself that I actually have to keep closed off, which I'm not going to get into now because, like you said, time is tight. That is like a whole other talk, side thing, whatever, for any other time. But my point being, in the shorthand, talking about the aspect of my loneliness would be like a key thing for today.
Yeah, I mean, I time's not so short that we can't get into something that's like really bothering you. Not that there's like necessarily going to be a resolution of anything, because I don't know, we're just sort of exploring it. But if you do want to get into what you sort of alluded to, by all means, like feel free.
Right.
The only thing left on my list today is to eat food and get sleep. So
The two most important things to do.
yes,
Two of the most important things.
which I've done both of already today.
Proud.
Earlier.
Proud. Good goals. So I am a like closeted trans person.
Mm.
I find it odd, or rather uncomfortable, to say that about myself to myself. I don't know why. Back home, I wasn't necessarily out to anyone aside from like two of my friends and my counselor, who was like super chill.
Uh-huh.
Like she would see me in the hallway and she'd be like, "Hey, Oakley," or like she'd use like he him pronouns for me, and she was just a great woman, phenomenal. I love her. Neither here or there. And even not really being out, coming here to the school I'm at now and being where I am now, I realize I don't have anything. I am in a bare environment with no one I know. The school is very like blunt about like it's okay. Where are your words? Where are your words? In the way the students present themselves and how they act, it shows that they're not really welcoming of the LGBT. Like there was one day in my math class, we had a substitute, and we got in like this whole debate about sexuality and everything. And one kid was like saying, "I don't understand how you can't like girls. Like, is it because you can't date one or something? Like, if you don't like girls, don't talk to me. I don't want to be around you," or like this, that, and the other. And it was just like, I'm really uncomfortable and I'm gonna grind my teeth and not say anything to you because I know it's not my place. But, dude, please stop.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, I'm sorry. I'm
That's
getting,
okay.
I'm stammering.
Right.
And like I wasn't really open about myself to people. Even then, my friends, for my sake, didn't really use my name and my pronouns because some of my friends were aggressively transphobic, and I was okay with that because the friends I was out to, they still acknowledged me, and they knew who I was, and in private they'd be like, "Hey, you're all right, man, you're all right." But like I don't have that here now.
Yeah.
And like I can't even really sneak wear my binder that one of my friends let me have because I end up having to carpool with my family to school and end up seeing them throughout the day. So there's like no way that can get past like anyone.
Right.
Just,
How long have you been in this new spot?
no. About a month almost.
Okay. I know this isn't going to be like great news, but it does sound like it is very recent.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long were you in the last place that you really had built up that support network?
Up until like late junior year. So
for several years.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess I am optimistic, and I realize that may be unrealistic, but I think that reality is up for debate. At least any given perspective is just a perspective on it. And who am I to say if any of them aren't valid? I just would agree or disagree with some, according to my experience and values, as anybody else would. But I guess I think you can create that connection more quickly than several years, and it might take several months. So I don't think it's abnormal. You're like, as shitty as it is, the experience you're going through makes a lot of sense. Um, and you know, there's some great ideas and questions in the chat about looking for sort of local groups in the city you're in, for community around LGBTQ stuff. But I know that may put you at risk in, you know, being outed with your family, which sounds like it may be a real risk. And I love listening
Yeah.
to Dan Savage's Savage Love Cast about this sort of stuff, because I think he's very realistic. Like, for as many strong opinions as he has that I disagree with, I definitely think that he has a point about the dangers of coming out, and how, while it can be really romantic to just want to be out immediately, and
It can be an unsavory thing that can easily not go well.
well, and it's like just the correlations around homelessness. Like, it's just like it's really scary, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't want you to put yourself at risk for that, if that's something that you think might be a repercussion of coming out to your family.
I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah.
So I'm just like for pause, because it's not good to cut people off. But my freshman year, I attempted to come out to my mom, and it didn't end up well. Lord, I need to get my words together. I'm so sorry. But it essentially
You
went.
never need to apologize to us, to me here, for anything, let alone finding your words.
I've never been told that, and you've just made my day. Thank you. Wow.
Feelings
But
mutual.
but it went essentially. She was just really upset, and she just checked me out of school, and she was gonna take me home and like give me hell. But she just sat me down like on the stairs outside of my school, and we talked. And the long and short of it was, she essentially, the whole shtick of parents who don't know how to deal with their kids come out to them. They pin it on themselves. They ask, "What did I do? Where did I go wrong? Did I not spend enough time with you?"
Mm.
And then she was like, at one point, she prominently said, "You're not a boy because I asked for a girl, and I asked for a girl, and you're a girl. You're not a boy." And I remember like I was crying. I was starting to cry, like I was tearing up, and she was like, "Why are you crying?" Like, "Okay, mom, just slash my dreams and my feelings, and not expect me to be upset about it." And I ended up going back to school. I checked back in. I was in like second period by then, but I spent the rest of my school day in tears until she picked me up, because I was just like really frustrated and devastated and upset. Because, oh no, you can go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I'm so sorry to hear that is how that went. You know, I just think it's like one of the suckiest things in life to be fundamentally denied your personhood and self by somebody so close to you as a parent, let alone anybody, but also just like that is really tough. I can only imagine. And yeah, there's a lot of other things I want to say, but that's like the first thing that I feel like is important to say.
You can say more if you like open discussion.
Yeah. Well, I guess the thing that I don't want to rush to, but that I do think is worth putting on the table, is just, I really like looking through the eyes of people that I otherwise don't understand, like, that I could never be necessarily, but to try to see what would have them react that way, and like what the best possible motivation could be. Like, if they think, because I think most people think they're good people, and I think most people think they're trying to do right, and underneath however sort of upsetting or problematic the sort of behavior is, I think that there are good intentions, even though those may line the road to hell. I think we all walk that road in our own ways every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess I think that people are more afraid about everything than we can sort of ever totally acknowledge. And that does not excuse poor behavior or, it certainly doesn't like undo harmful interactions, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, it doesn't excuse it, but it helps better understand
Right.
why the person would say what they do or act the way they do.
And I think it gives you a place to stand where you can sort of translate the garbage that is coming at you into their version of a heart emoji. As twisted as it may sound, I think it can give you a more powerful place to stand and speak from, and sort of help you sort of cut through the bullshit and not get super caught up in, the I don't know. Yeah, it's just one of those things that like I try to think about that and remember when I end up in conversations with people that I deeply disagree with, that they're not necessarily, they're actively trying to be good people, and more often than not, this is their way of saying I love you to me, whatever it is that they're trying to say. Whether it was my grandfather making sort of gay jokes at the Hollywood, the holiday table back in the day, to yeah, it's one of those things that's like I'm really quick to, because I went to a school called Ethical Culture Fieldston School, so like ethical culture is like I bristle at anything that's not that. Um, and then I think the thing that's like really challenging and the thing that's shitty is it's like nobody's job to do this. But I guess like the thing that I sort of have to remind myself, as much as I try to correct my family for things that I feel like I've learned, and sometimes learned the hard way, and sometimes had the wherewithal to ask and not make the mistake and learn that way, around communication and identity, is just seeing that like I have an opportunity to not fight for peace, because in so many ways that's just another fight and then there's no peace. And so it's like coming back to that sort of place, I don't know, just like recentering yourself, and remembering what you're committed to. I find that is useful for me, but and this was all caveated in like I don't really want to get into that quite yet, because like I don't think that's necessarily the thing to jump into, because like first and foremost it's just shitty that you've had to put up with that, and I don't think anybody should feel as alone as you have. Not like it's wrong to, just like I don't think anybody deserves that.
I appreciate that immensely. I thank you, because everyone around me has just been saying like, "Oh, hold out for it. It'll happen,"
Who
And
knows?
I guess I can see where they're coming from, because it's been such a short period of time being here, but still, it doesn't feel likely. Uh, that wasn't. Gosh, You're gonna hate me, but I'm sorry for stumbling on my words. Oof, boy.
Challenge. I don't think I don't think hate is a thing that I'm gonna have for you ever, but try me.
I don't. That wasn't like a point, that was rough to like jump to. I actually felt that was like really helpful. That was really helpful to me.
I guess what did you hear for yourself, or what are you taking away from any of that?
Jeez. I guess it's just like try, like it's not okay. Anything my mom said or the way she acts or acted, but maybe try to understand why. And not just maybe, actually try to understand and think about it and see where she's coming from and know that she does love me and have my best interest in mind.
Ooh.
But sometimes it's like, you know, it's not done well.
Right. I think that she loves you and has her vision of your best interests in mind, which are not necessarily your best interests.
Yeah.
And I think we can agree it's very likely that she does love you, and that when she says harmful things or things that can, really hurt, like you're a girl when that's not what you are, as much as you might have been assigned a gender at birth that doesn't match how you identify and choose to identify, like that's not your best interest at heart. That's maybe, I just think about my friend Matthew Shirka, who was put through conversion therapy when he came out to his parents for about 5 years. And what he saw, like a couple years after that, when he actually ended up forgiving his parents, um, was that they were just, sort of slapping around in the dark of life without any, sort of manual, with a bunch of religiously inspired bigotry. Not that they're like incredibly religious, but just I think there was like this element of, I think,
It was like it's there was this element of like it's what the Bible told me to do.
well, there, I think this was like with Judaism, but I think all sort of like biblical religion, like old school religions, have shitty things to say about LGBTQ rights.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm not, as much as I'm not a mental health care specialist, I'm certainly not a divinity scholar by any degree. But it was really interesting to see him come to terms with and sort of find like a sweet spot in relating to his parents, and his dad in particular, who really drove for this therapy. That this was just his dad's way of saying, I care about you and I'm scared for your future. And he's been able to, no matter what his dad says, like, you're just sick, or you need, whatever, I don't know, I haven't been in the room, but like whatever his dad will say, he can respond, I so get how much you love me and how scared you are for me, and trust me, I'll be okay. And like, if you want to keep talking about this, I'm gonna go. We can talk about other stuff. And like, I think that that's the other thing that I don't necessarily agree with, using as sort of a blanket policy, but I definitely think it is effective and is something that many, many, many people use, which is, at the end of the day, this is a Dan Savage thing, which is, at the end of the day, like, you have total control over your presence in your parents' lives. And there, that it might come to that where you sort of deprive yourself of, or deprive them of, your company. I don't know if it needs to get there, and I certainly don't advocate for that as a thing, but I say put the air mask on yourself first, in the plane crash analogy of life. And like, if that means getting some space from people that are not, I know that's difficult because you're in high school, or you're living at home, which it makes it, I think, particularly challenging. Yeah, I think that you have every right to take space for you, no matter how many ways there are to look at, you know what I mean. Like, just don't put yourself in a harmful situation just to take sort of the high ground.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Cool.
Because I have thought about what if, like, if it will ever get to the point where I just have to completely uproot myself from my mom and like cut contact, and that in a way worries me because I love my mom and she is my only living like blood parent. So to not have
Ugh.
that or like any family from that side in my life anymore for that matter.
Right.
Would just be like, really weird.
I totally get that. And I think that, and again, this is no guarantee for success, but I just think that is a really powerful way to articulate that. It's just, Mom, I can't lose, like, I don't want to lose you. And, like, I just, like, you know, I don't need you to agree with me, but I do need you to choose me. If that makes any sense. Like
Makes
sort of
perfect.
like yeah, um, yeah. It sounds like that is a really clear way to just like own your feelings about it without necessarily pointing a finger about like if you don't do this, I'll never see you again. But just like you're really important to me, Mom, and it really is hard to stick around and to keep sort of stepping back up to this relationship. Um, I don't know if that's useful at all, but I certainly
It's very useful. Very.
I'm glad, and I really acknowledge you for coming on because I know it's like scary to jump on the phone with all these people and start sharing about real stuff.
Honestly, once once we started talking, like going back and forth, it wasn't as bad, and it just feels really casual, which is weird
Hmm.
because, like I said when we started talking, you were like a very prominent person on my like neat people list. So yeah,
It's just awesome to get to connect, and um,
great.
yeah, you're now definitely on one of my lists of moving conversations that I
Oh
never
shut.
expected to have. This is really cool. Um,
Oh,
and it sounds like there are a lot of people in the chat that can really relate with this, and also a lot of wisdom being shared, sort of in that thing. And I think I deeply agree with Emir, which is that you are very brave, um, and sort of in this situation that is rigged against you. You know what I mean? Like new place, new people, not a lot of understanding.
I thought I was the only one who thought that. Glad to know. glad to know I'm not the only person who sees the game as rigged. Glad to
Yeah,
know.
and I think the thing that you get to explore, and that I'd be curious, to see what you make of this is, what if you could invent a new game?
Go on.
I have no idea what's next there. I know that there are opportunities for independent study. There are student groups. There are cafe. Like I don't know what's appropriate to your circumstances. Like if you have curfews or if you have free periods or things. I think it would take designing a game worth playing, um, and you get to set the rules of what is a goal in your game. And then remember that you made it up. So if you don't score, like no harm, no foul. It's a made up game. But like you know, um, complimenting one person a day and seeing what happens is a game that you could choose to play and see what happens. Or you know, carving out a month to sharpen your sword at whatever craft you'd like to sharpen that. Whether it's writing or acting or music, or maybe it's not art, maybe it's or I think computer programming can be an art. Sort of like um, getting clear about what you'd be excited to play in, and then inviting other people to join you in that playground.
That sounds like a neat thing to do. I might start doing that. Not even like a might, like I'm gonna.
Amazing. Um, you certainly don't have to declare or promise anything right now, but I'd absolutely love to have you back on after you've either decided or have taken some some baby steps, and I recommend baby steps and relating to them that way, because I think taking chances are very often like narrated into failure when it was only ever always an exploration. And I don't think there is any failure in exploration. There's just discovery.
That's deep stuff. Like that.
Awesome. Well, I just so appreciate you coming on to open yourself up, and I guarantee that there are other people with us right now whose lives are going to be different and forever because of this conversation. At the very least,
Yeah, thank you
mine.
for
And
letting
just,
me talk to you.
oh my God, it's awesome to have a conversation with you. I couldn't talk with you if you didn't call in. So yeah, so thanks for that.
Of course.
Awesome. Well, do you have my DMs on the Twitters so we can stay in touch?
I don't have your Twitter, but I have your Instagram.
Great, that works. Whatever
Yes.
you prefer. I would say I'm slightly more responsive on Twitter because it does like the notification thingies.
Yeah.
But whatever you prefer, it works for me.
I'll set up a Twitter then.
Oh no worries. Like Instagram is probably equally good. Just like it's like maybe anyway. Whatever you prefer is
I had planned to make one like anyway, so you just like given me motivation.
happy to motivate. That works for me. Awesome. Well, such a pleasure to have you on, and I look forward to talking with you again really soon.
Of course, well, pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any last thoughts or anything else you want to chat about or share about before we say goodnight?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
All I gotta say is just eat a good meal and go to bed.
I will. I absolutely will.
Those are important things to do. Important things.
I will. I might have to get some belly rubs in with Tiffy in between those things.
Another important thing to do.
Oh my God! Do you see this cat?
Get
Ugh.
Tiffy's top tier.
Aw. She tries to bite me without teeth, and it's adorable.
Oh. Tiffy is like number one on my list of cats. That's a long one. That's a long one.
That's amazing. Somebody told me I need to start her own Instagram, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like so much work, but I would also follow that Instagram. I would follow it so hard.
That would be great. People love like pets and they love like pet Instagrams. That'd be awesome. Because you take great photos of her.
Yeah. I think, how many times a week would I need to post? Would it need to be every day?
Regularly, from what I've seen, it's like a regular everyday thing.
Yeah.
But I think if you make it just like a 2 times out the day, maybe not 2 times out the day, 2 times out the week.
That would be
so
enough.
Like Tuesday and Friday.
All right. I'll think about it. I think that may be the first thing that I want to do when I have like a company or something. Anyway, maybe one day. We'll see. But in the meantime, just such a privilege to get to connect, and I'll talk to you soon, Oakley.
Thank you. I'm shook because not a lot of people call me Oakley, so I'm just like, ooh, I'm in a good mood. Thank you.
Oh, me too. Awesome. Well, I will talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, everybody, this has just been such an amazing experience for me. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Matt over here, so we'll have to pick that up next week. But just so appreciate you guys calling in. Um, this is exactly what I had hoped, but like way more amazing than I could have ever imagined out of daddy issues. Um, a live stream about family stuff with Dream Daddies or Daddy. I'm just terrible with these names, but yeah, um, so grateful for both Bridge and Oakley joining, um, and yeah, and just like awesome to catch up with Rennie, and it just means so much to me that y'all are just like so comfortable opening up here about life and sort of looking at these things and then like trying new stuff. Like that's the coolest because I know when I heard it the first time, the definition of insanity, the doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, um, is one of those things that when I heard it was like, oh my god, like that is my whole life. Is I just like keep trying the same thing, and so it is really cool to see people as a result of these. Yeah, I'm just like so proud of like what happens in y'all's lives when you step up and step out and try something new. Holy shit. So inspired by all of you. Um, Second, just coming back into this thing. And yeah, that is a wrap for Self Care Sunday this week. I'm going to be emailing out some instructions for everybody who's involved in Rise Scrivember. If you don't know what that is, it is Write a Script in November, and it's never too late to join. You can learn more at writeascriptinnovember.org. And it's sort of like National Novel Writing Month with NaNoWriMo, but for scripts. And if you've written an audio drama script under 35 pages, I might produce it if it gets picked by all the other people who've been submitting those. Not that anybody's been submitting it because we haven't given out those instructions yet. But yeah, Sarah Lapointe, Lapointe. Anyway, glad that I inspire you. All of you guys inspire me. This is so awesome. Such a great community to connect with. I feel charged up for next week. This week, next week, this week. Depends on when you start your weeks. But yeah, until next week, all my love, you guys.